Penguin Random House Audio presents The Narrow Corridor, States, Societies, and the Fate of Liberty by Daron Acemoglu and James A. Robinson. Read for you by Stephen Graybill. Publisher's Note: The narrator references charts throughout this recording, which can be viewed by opening the accompanying digital PDF file on any PC or Mac computer. Preface. Liberty. This book is about liberty, and how and why human societies have achieved or failed to achieve it. It is also about the consequences of this, especially for prosperity. Our definition follows the English philosopher John Locke, who argued that people have liberty when they have perfect freedom to order their actions and dispose of their possessions and persons as they think fit, without asking leave or depending upon the will of any other man. Liberty in this sense is a basic aspiration of all human beings. Locke emphasized that no one ought to harm another in his life, health, liberty, or possessions. Yet it is clear that liberty has been rare in history and is rare today. Every year, millions of people in the Middle East, Africa, Asia, and Central America flee their homes and risk life and limb in the process, not because they are seeking higher incomes or greater material comfort, but because they are trying to protect themselves and their families from violence and fear. Philosophers have proposed many definitions of liberty, but at the most fundamental level, as Locke recognized, liberty must start with people being free from violence, intimidation, and other demeaning acts. People must be able to make free choices about their lives and have the means to carry them out, without the menace of unreasonable punishment or draconian social sanctions. All the evil in the world. In January 2011, in the Harika market in the old city of Damascus, Syria, a spontaneous protest took place against the despotic regime of Bashar al-Assad. Soon afterward, in the southern city of Daraa, some children wrote, "The people want the fall of the government," on a wall. They were arrested and tortured. A crowd gathered to demand their release, and 2 people were killed by the police. A mass demonstration erupted that soon spread throughout the country. A lot of the people, it turned out, did want the government to fall. A civil war soon broke out. The state, its military, and its security forces duly disappeared from much of the country. But instead of liberty, Syrians ended up with civil war and uncontrolled violence. Adam, a media organizer in Latakia, reflected on what happened next. "We thought we'd get a present, and what we got was all the evil in the world." Hussein, a playwright from Aleppo, summed it up, "We never expected that these dark groups would come into Syria, the ones that have taken over the game now." Foremost among these dark groups was the so-called Islamic State, or what was then known as ISIS, which aimed to create a new Islamic caliphate. In 2014, ISIS took control of the major Syrian city of Raqqa. On the other side of the border, in Iraq, they captured the cities of Fallujah, Ramadi, and the historic city of Mosul, with its 1.5 million inhabitants. ISIS and many other armed groups filled the stateless void left by the collapse of the Syrian and Iraqi governments with unimaginable cruelty. Beatings, beheadings, and mutilations became commonplace. Abu Faras, a fighter with the Free Syrian Army, described the new normal in Syria. "It's been so long since I heard that someone died from natural causes. In the beginning, 1 or 2 people would get killed, then 20, then 50. Then it became normal. If we lost 50 people, we thought, thank God it's only 50. I can't sleep without the sound of bombs or bullets. It's like something is missing." Amin, a physical therapist from Aleppo, remembered, "One of the other guys called his girlfriend and said, 'Sweetheart, I'm out of minutes on my phone. I'll call you back on Amin's phone.' After a while, she called asking about him, and I told her he'd been killed. She cried, and my friend said, 'Why did you tell her that?' I said, 'Because that's what happened. It's normal. He died.' I'd open my phone and look at my contacts, and only 1 or 2 were still alive. They told us, if someone dies, don't delete his number, just change his name to Martyr. So I'd open my contact list, and it was all martyr, martyr, martyr. The collapse of the Syrian state created a humanitarian disaster of enormous proportions. Out of a population of about 18 million before the war, as many as 500,000 Syrians are estimated to have lost their lives. Over 6 million have been internally displaced, and 5 million have fled the country and are currently living as refugees. The Gilgamesh problem. The calamity unleashed by the collapse of the Syrian state is not surprising. Philosophers and social scientists have long maintained that you need a state to resolve conflicts, enforce laws, and contain violence. As Locke puts it, where there is no law, there is no freedom. Yet Syrians had started protesting to gain some freedoms from Assad's autocratic regime. As Adam ruefully recalled, ironically, we went out in demonstrations to eradicate corruption and criminal behavior and evil and hurting people, and we've ended up with results that hurt many more people. Syrians like Adam were grappling with a problem so endemic to human society that it is a theme of one of the oldest surviving pieces of written text, the 4,200-year-old Sumerian tablets that record the Epic of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh was the king of Uruk, perhaps the world's first city, situated on a now dried-up channel of the Euphrates River in the south of modern-day Iraq. The epic tells us that Gilgamesh created a remarkable city, flourishing with commerce and public services for its inhabitants. See how its ramparts gleam like copper in the sun, climb the stone staircase, walk on the wall of Uruk, follow its course around the city, inspect its mighty foundations, examine its brickwork, how masterfully it is built, observe the land it encloses, the glorious palaces and temples, the shops and marketplaces, the houses, the public squares. But there was a hitch. Who is like Gilgamesh? The city is his possession. He struts through it, arrogant, his head raised high, trampling its citizens like a wild bull. He is king. He does whatever he wants, takes the son from his father and crushes him, takes the girl from her mother and uses her. No one dares to oppose him. Gilgamesh was out of control, a bit like Assad in Syria. In despair, the people cried out to heaven, to Anu, the god of the sky and the chief deity in the Sumerian pantheon of gods. They pleaded, "Heavenly Father, Gilgamesh, has exceeded all bounds. The people suffer from his tyranny. Is this how you want your king to rule? Should a shepherd savage his own flock?" Anu paid attention and asked Aruru, mother of creation, to create a double for Gilgamesh, his second self, a man who equals his strength and courage, a man who equals his stormy heart. Create a new hero. Let them balance each other perfectly so that Uruk has peace. Anu thus came up with a solution to what we'll call the Gilgamesh problem, controlling the authority and the power of a state so that you get the good things and not the bad. Anu's was the doppelganger solution, similar to what people today call checks and balances. Gilgamesh's double, Enkidu, would contain him. James Madison, one of the founding fathers of the U.S. system of government, would have sympathized. He would argue 4,000 years later that constitutions must be designed so that ambition must be made to counteract ambition. Gilgamesh's first encounter with his double came when he was about to ravish a new bride. Enkidu blocked the doorway. They fought. Although Gilgamesh ultimately prevailed, his unrivaled despotic power was gone. The seeds of liberty in Uruk? Unfortunately not. Checks and balances parachuted from above don't work in general, and they didn't in Uruk. Soon Gilgamesh and Enkidu started to conspire. As the epic records it, they embraced and kissed, they held hands like brothers, they walked side by side, they became true friends. They subsequently colluded to kill the monster Humbaba, the guardian of the great cedar forest of Lebanon. When the gods sent the bull of heaven to punish them, they combined forces to kill it. The
Sample complete. Ready to continue?